Let's go Eagles! NFL free agency is heating up, and the Philadelphia Eagles are in the thick of it. But here's the thing, while everyone is focusing on the obvious moves, there's something brewing behind the scenes that could shock the league. A big trade, a surprise return, and an NFC rival trying to steal one of our key players. Let's break it all down because what's about to happen could reshape the Eagles' future. Before I tell you all the details, make sure you've hit the like button if you've been an Eagles fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. Maximum respect. If possible, comment something like, "Go Eagles! Let's go to the Super Bowl again." Now, let's get to the point. First, let's talk about Isaiah Rodgers. If you thought he was stuck for another year in Philadelphia, think again. The New York Giants are making a serious play for him, and that's a problem. Not just because Rodgers has proven he can be a crucial part of this defense, but because the Giants desperately need help in the secondary and could throw a lot of money his way. My hope? This is just New York trying to drive up the price and make things harder for the Eagles. But let's be real, losing Rodgers would be painful, especially when we're already over Darius Slay. Now, here's where things get wild. There's a rumor going around that Howie Roseman is working on a trade involving quarterback Kenny Pickett. Yeah, you heard that right. With the Raiders recently acquiring Geno Smith, it seemed like Pickett might have an obvious landing spot in Vegas, but that door slammed shut. So now, the Eagles are exploring their options, and some insiders believe Roseman could still find a trade partner. But here's the thing, does this mean Tanner McKee is officially locked in as QB2? And if so, what kind of return can the Eagles even get for Pickett? Reuben Frank, a beat writer covering the team, thinks a mid-round pick is realistic, and if that's the case, it's a move Philly should seriously consider. But that's not even the biggest potential shakeup. Howie is freeing up cap space, and that has Eagles fans wondering, what's next? A big signing? A surprise extension? One name to keep an eye on, Mekhi Becton. The massive offensive lineman has made it clear he wants to stay in Philly, and recent reports suggest that if the Eagles match the best offer he gets, he'll stay. The only issue? His camp is willing to wait things out, which means this could drag on past the opening days of free agency. If you're an Eagles fan, don't panic if nothing happens right away. This one might take time. And then there's the defensive front. We already know Zach Bond was priority number one, and thankfully, Howie got that deal done before free agency even started. But what about Josh Sweat and Milton Williams? Both are top free agents at their respective positions, and right now, the signs point to them leaving. The Arizona Cardinals, coached by former Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, have been heavily linked to both players, and losing them would create some big holes in the defense. But this might be all part of Howie's long-term plan. The Eagles are playing the compensatory pick game, meaning they're willing to let some high-priced free agents walk in order to get extra draft capital. That's why names like Draymond Jones, Trey Hendrickson, and even Khalil Mack are being floated around as potential replacements. Hendrickson, in particular, is an interesting case. He had 17.5 sacks last year and is available for trade. But here's the catch. He wants a contract north of $30 million per year, and the Bengals are reportedly asking for a second-round pick in return. That's a steep price for a guy who, while incredibly talented, may not be the best fit in Vic Fangio's defensive scheme. And speaking of fit, Harold Landry is another name that's been mentioned, but his pass rush win rate last season was terrible. If the Eagles are going to spend big, they need to be sure they're getting a true difference maker. And let's not forget about linebacker. With Zach Bond locked in, the question now is, who plays next to him? Nakobe Dean is still rehabbing, and reports suggest he might not be back to full strength until next season. That leaves the door open for someone like Baron Browning, who has history with Fangio and was linked to Philly at the trade deadline last season. He's got versatility, size, and the ability to rush the passer, which makes him a really intriguing option. On the offensive side of the ball, there aren't as many glaring needs, but there are still some interesting moves to watch. With Britton Covey testing the market, the Eagles could look to upgrade their return game, and one name that's been thrown around is Deontay Hardy. He's younger than Covey, has Pro Bowl experience, and could be a better all-around weapon on special teams. Another position to watch? Tight end. Tommy Tremble from the Panthers is a name to keep an eye on. He's young, versatile, and could provide some much-needed depth behind Dallas Goedert. But here's where things get really interesting. Saquon Barkley's contract extension. Nobody saw this one coming, at least not this soon. Howie Roseman typically doesn't invest heavily in running backs, but after Barkley's historic season, he made an exception. And honestly, it makes sense. Barkley isn't just a running back. He's an offensive weapon. He's a leader in the locker room, and he proved that in the Super Bowl when, despite despite a dominant lead, he kept the entire team locked in and focused. Some might say paying a running back big money is a risk, but when you look at how quickly the market is shifting, especially with guys like Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs set to get paid soon, locking Barkley up now might actually be a steal. At the end of the day, this Eagles team is being built for sustained success. The core is intact, the right players are being paid, and Howie Roseman is making sure this team is still a contender for years to come. But with free agency about to kick off, the big question is, what's next? Will the Eagles go after another star? Will they trade Kenny Pickett? And what happens if Isaiah Rodgers signs with the Giants? I want to hear from you. Who should the Eagles go after in free agency? Should they let Josh Sweat and Milton Williams walk, or should Howie find a way to bring them back? And what do you think about Saquon Barkley's contract extension? Was it the right move, or should Philly have waited? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, because things are about to get crazy. Free agency starts now. Let's get it. And let's not forget about the biggest wild card of all, Howie Roseman. If there's one thing Eagles fans should know by now, it's that Howie never sits still. Just when you think you've got his plans figured out, he pulls off something completely unexpected. That's why, even with all the rumors and reports swirling around, you have to ask yourself, what's the move that nobody sees coming? We've already seen hints that the Eagles could be targeting another major addition on defense. And if you're wondering why that makes sense, just take a step back and look at what's happening around the league. The NFC is still wide open. The 49ers, Lions, and Cowboys are strong, but none of them are unbeatable. And the Eagles know that if they shore up a few key positions, they're right back in the mix for another Super Bowl run. That's why a move like Khalil Mack, for example, shouldn't be ruled out. Mack isn't just any veteran pass rusher. He's an absolute monster when healthy. He's got a connection to Vic Fangio from their time in Chicago, and last season, he was still one of the most dominant defenders in the league. If the Eagles can make the numbers work, adding Mack to a rotation that already includes Nolan Smith, Haason Reddick, and Josh Sweat, if he stays, would be an absolute nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. And let's be real, if there's one thing that's always been at the core of successful Eagles teams, it's having a relentless pass rush. But what about the secondary? With Darius Slay gone and Isaiah Rodgers still up in the air, the Eagles need to make sure they don't take a step back in coverage. That's why a name like Asante Samuel Jr. is really interesting. His dad was a legend in Philly, and while the younger Samuel hasn't quite reached that level yet, he's shown serious flashes of being a difference maker. He's young, aggressive, and he's got the ball-hawking instincts that this defense needs. Of course, there's still the wild card of a potential draft day trade, and this is where Howie Roseman is at his most dangerous. There are already whispers that the Eagles might be looking to move up in the draft to secure a premier defensive talent. Maybe it's an elite corner. Maybe it's a defensive tackle to pair with Jalen Carter. But one thing is for sure, this roster isn't done being built yet. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the move you want to see the Eagles make next? Should they go all in on defense? Is there a free agent you think they should sign that nobody is talking about? And what's your take on the Saquon Barkley contract? Was it the right move, or do you think Philly could have spent that money elsewhere? Let me know in the comments. And of course, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because when the next big move happens, you know we'll be breaking it down right here. Free agency is just getting started. Let's get it.